Today I want to show you through some of the network settings on the CX350 and show you how to set it up to stream direct to Facebook Live. Firstly, I'm going to start by installing the optional WM50 Wi-Fi dongle from Panasonic. This fits into the USB port on the top of the camera. Then we'll move on to the network menu in the camera, where we'll set the device to use either a wired local area network, LAN, or a wireless network, WLAN. We move on to the network functionality, which we can set for streaming or to use NDI. IP remote allows us to enable or disable the remote functions. These are protected by user accounts. We can create a username for later use, and this can be found under the account list. Under streaming, we can set various streaming format outputs in different resolutions, frame rates and bit rates. These can be as high as 1920 by 1080. For Facebook, I'm going to set the output to 1280 by 720, 25 frames a second at 2 megabit. When streaming direct from the camera, we can set the start trigger to be camera. Alternatively, you can set the camera to receiver if you're using streaming software which can control the camera. Initially, we have to type in the connection information into the camera's memory, but this can then be stored to an SD card and retrieved later. The receiver URL, in this case, is an RTMP address. The RTMP server address and stream key information can be found on Facebook Live on the Connect screen. You simply take the server URL and the stream key and join them together into one long string. This can be typed in using the keyboard on the touchscreen. The caps lock and numlock keys can be toggled to allow you to type in uppercase, lowercase, numbers and symbols. The stream key will be case sensitive. Once entered, it can be saved to SD card 1 for later retrieval. Start will allow you to start the stream and is best assigned to a user button. If all the network and connection parameters have been set correctly and connection is established, this will be enabled to allow you to start the stream. We're not looking at NDI functionality today, but the settings for these can be found in the network menu once this function has been activated with a license key. For a wired local area network, the LAN properties can be used to set the IP information of the local network. In many cases, the network will have a DHCP server, which will automatically allocate the IP information directly into the camera. And this will not only save having to enter the information, but will also adapt if that information later changes. The camera allows for IP version 4 and IP version 6. Under information, we can check the network status, showing us the available speeds, whether a link is established or not, and the IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, and DNS information that's been supplied by the DHCP server. It's important to make sure DNS information has been supplied to the camera, as the RTMP URL that we typed in is for Facebook, and the domain name servers need to look up the IP address for facebook.com. While we could just type in an IP address for facebook.com, the DNS server will always look up the most up-to-date information. If no network connection is detected, link detected shows no, so this can be a useful tool for troubleshooting network connection problems. Network initialize will reset all the network information to the factory defaults, and the Easy IP setting can work in conjunction with software installed on a Windows computer to automatically configure the camera and computer to talk to each other. Anytime we change from a wired LAN to a wireless LAN or vice versa, the camera will need to be restarted. Now when we look at the network menu, the LAN property is greyed out and WLAN property is enabled. In here we can set how we're using the Wi-Fi connection. In this case we're in infrastructure mode, connecting to a wireless router. We can also set this to direct, if we're using the camera, to connect directly to a pad to use the CX350 remote app. SSID shows us the available wireless networks that we can connect to. A list of local wireless networks or wireless hotspots will be displayed with their signal strength, and we can select the network we wish to connect to. We may have the option to change the band from 2.4 to 5 GHz. There's a setting to change the encryption key type, and we have a setting for the encryption key, which is the password for the wireless router we're connecting to. Remember that the encryption key will be case sensitive. And as with the wired LAN, we can set the IP version 4 settings, in this case to use DHCP. Now when we look at the network information status, we should see the SSID of the wireless network we've connected to, the quality of the link, and the bit rates available, along with IP, subnet mask, default gateway, and DNS server information. Once the network information is set up, we can return to the main camera screen. Here we see the network is set to wireless, but there is no connection, as shown with a red cross. The wireless icon also shows the signal strength, in this case a poor connection, or a good connection. To the left is the streaming icon, and once we start the stream successfully, it will turn to the broadcast icon. We can connect the camera to a wired LAN by using a standard Ethernet cable. Once connected, our network icon changes to white. Once we start the streaming icon starts to flash until a connection is established. Then it turns to a solid broadcast icon. From our Facebook account, we can click on the Facebook Live link. Clicking on Connect takes us to the Connect screen. Selecting the checkbox for persistent stream key allows us to reuse the stream key that we've typed into the camera already. Once in the Facebook Live Connect screen, we can start the stream on the camera. The status changes to Fetching Video Stream, and the stats for this connection are displayed on the page. In this case, 1280 by 720. We're running at 1.91 megabits per second at 25 frames a second, and we can now select where we want the stream to go and click Live. The stream is now live and running until we click End Stream. I hope you found the information in this video useful for setting up your live stream. Much of the information can be used with other providers as well, like YouTube, and we'll continue to provide information on the CX350, like how to connect and use the CX350 app. So stay tuned and click the subscribe button for future videos. And don't forget to leave us any feedback or your questions in the comments below.